we like to do drugs.
We like.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Me want drugs, nigga. It's never gonna work. There's never been a point in time in human history where you stop doing it. So don't imagine in your fancy head that you suddenly like, bro,
Right.
like you're not gonna stop. So like all these things are, a lot of these things is just human nature. So you should be a lot more accommodating.
Well,
Damn.
yeah, with drugs, it's like the brain gets addicted to it, right? So it's like a bit of like physiology, chemistry, you know what I mean, neurology
Yes.
going on there, you know what I mean?
But everything is same thing with food.
Yeah.
Same thing with the air we breathe.
Yeah. It's just the way we're
everything is
wired. You're right.
physiology
You're
and-
right. The way
And
we're wired. You're right.
The value of life is not the way we measure it. It's the quality of experience. Do you get? That's why we skydive. That's why we're going to in planes. It's not because it's safer or going to space. It's not because there's more food there. It's like after surviving, you want to be entertained. If not, surviving is useless.
Right.
Do you get? On a baseline level, after surviving, that's why we get depressed and everything.
So you're saying
It's like the point of life is not just to survive.
yeah, it's have like a meaningful life.
You want to risk it.
Yeah. You want
So people find meaning in so many things.
Yeah.
And drugs are as meaningful as books. Long. Don't let anybody want you. Because if it wasn't true, people will not be as dedicated.
That's dedicated.
So like we have to be honest. I feel like we have to be honest with ourselves and with what we are as humans.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, with drugs and like, I know like before.
I'm not advocating for drugs, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
the stigma around it is causing more problem than it itself. Shout out.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I was saying like before, like there were like synthesized drugs like cocaine and like meth and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like where it was just like opioids and just like weed and natural shit.
Mushrooms.
Yeah. I would say at that point, you know, that's not a drug. You know what I mean? Because a drug is technically like a synthesized chemical. You know what I mean? It's something made in the lab. You know what I mean? Like something that grows biologically. You know what I mean? It's not
See,
like
these
like
arguments like that are so entertaining. Because
yeah, you know what I mean? Like for example, like let's go weed. Let's go
natural.
right. Let's go weed.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
The bud itself is not a drug, but when you light the bud and smoke it, it becomes a drug. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's a chemical reaction. You know what I mean? Right there. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's very interesting because for me, I blame the people who made synthetic drugs. You know what I mean? Because they, in my head,
They
you know what I
just
mean?
made it more efficient.
But
So I don't blame them.
no,
either.
bro, but they created essentially like human HIV. You know what I mean? Like addictions. You know what I mean? And like drug addiction is equivalent to like HIV and AIDS to me, bro. You know what I mean? Like
Addiction
it's
not
just as deadly.
about
It's just as deadly.
most drugs. So like when we're talking about the top tier drugs, then it doesn't matter what you are. We're talking about crack cocaine,
Yeah.
heroin.
Yeah.
There's almost nothing about it. But like on a base level, addiction is struggling to find homeostasis, which is natural
Right.
across the board in any organism you find.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in human beings too, especially now when our cultural, social and environmental experience is very different from what we've been genetically exposed to in the past, I feel. Or like,
Right.
do you get? It's harder to feel balanced. It's a lot harder to feel balanced.
Yeah.
And then different people seek out that balance differently.
Right.
And for people who I feel like struggle with addiction, because me, openly, yeah, definitely. Like, not crazy addictions, just observing like my minor addictions like smoking and things like that.
Right.
It's you're trying to compensate for things that you naturally are not predisposed towards. And it's interesting to see like the difference in the quality of experience.
Yeah.
Because when I talk to people who have genuine depression, not
Right.
depression that was caused by a particular experience.
Right.
No, life has been good. But that sense of satisfaction, happiness,
Yeah.
that you eat food and discover.
Yeah.
I didn't discover that.
That's satiation. Yeah.
So imagine going through life like that, and then you try Molly,
Yeah.
and then you now feel that. You can't make a valid argument.
Yeah.
You can't really make a valid argument.
It's
'cause
hard
you
not to
don't
want to
know-
go back to
Yeah,
that.
you don't know what you're asking the person to give up. Because it's not just drugs. Do you get what I'm saying? It's that somatic.
It's literally the high.
Exactly. It's the value
It's
that
the
I
high.
had
Yeah.
across the board. And
Well,
that difference it makes.
When you say we live in a different experience than in previous human history, right? Like, I feel like in modern society, in the society we live in 21st century, with all of like the advancements in media and technology, and I feel everyone is constantly overstimulated.
100%,
Especially if you live in a city, you're constantly overstimulated.
100%. Look at all these lights.
Yeah.
100%.
You know what I mean, right? And like when that happens, right? Like I said, people find it hard to return back to that place of homeostasis, in the sense that, you know, again, it goes back to, for me, neurology and just understanding how the brain works. I mean, and it's like because people are constantly overstimulated, they have never had a chance to get accustomed to literally being bored.
Being bored, yeah, exactly.
Like literally
100%.
being bored, you know what I mean? And so, like that being
100%.
bored feeling, right?
Yeah.
Is such a devastating feeling for most people, you know what I mean?
I struggle with it a lot too.
See,
Yes.
me, I like heal.
You know what I mean? And so it's like people try to then live in in an artificial feeling, right, to ignore that feeling of being bored, you know what I mean, right? And it's like you said, right, when you're going through life and you're feeling depressed, you're feeling
somewhere.
you're feeling
That's very entertaining.
Yeah, when you're going through life and you're feeling very unfulfilled, very depressed, very unhappy, you know what I mean, lack of joy, you know what I mean, lack of motivation, lack of passion and will to live, you know what I mean, it's because like you sit in the moments of like extreme lows and you're not used to sitting there because you've constantly been overstimulated. Constantly.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Constantly.
You know what I mean? So being in that low, everything becomes overwhelming, everything becomes overstimulating, everything, you know what I mean? And it becomes harder to operate in that, you know what I mean? So it's like when someone who's living in that system experiences drug, that completely changes their reality and perception. It's hard not to become addicted.
Yeah, and I feel like that's even
hard not to become
those are
addicted.
extreme examples. And to me, with those extreme examples, now you can't make an argument against it. But even with small things like food, or sex, or social interaction and attention,
all of these are things that people get addicted to. Yeah,
exactly. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
And then I feel like it's literally, I feel like if you observe, we don't want to die. And because we see silence is death, and that's a bad thing as far as we're concerned. Same reason we sleep or all these things.
Yeah.
So how we know we're still here and it still feels good is from positive stimulation. That's how we infer. From people telling us that we are good, from us seeing our goodness, from touching
those feelings of those endorphins, dopamine, and
exactly.
Yeah.
So when all these things are now not going well, you can only expect somebody to spiral. You can only expect someone to try and fix it. How do you know how? And then when they're not in a circumstance where there is no how, or where they feel like there's no how, or they can't see how, you get what you get.
I find like people who in those situations lean on people in those situations lean on alcohol, like feel like people who lean on religion instead feel the same thing.
Religion is the same
they feel the
thing.
same thing, you know what I mean?
It
feels that void. It feels that void.
But if you want to make the argument then against alcohol, then you're making the same argument against religion.
Yeah, some people, but
like, are you bold enough?
Yeah, but that's it's all. I think like for me, it's all kind of like addictions in a sense. You're addicted to like that feeling you get from that environment, from being in that thing, right? People replace like alcohol, drugs, or whatever with sex. You know what I mean? They replace it with food.
With
you know what I mean?
Food.
Yeah.
Certain kind of
but because again, going back to the brain chemistry, going back to brain chemistry is because doing all of those things releases those happy hormones, those happy chemicals in our brain, like dopamine, serotonin, you know what I mean, oxytocin, I mean, it releases all those happy chemicals in our brain, and that's why we get addicted to those things, because we want to feel those highs. We want to feel those highs. Like even when we do drugs, it releases those things. You know what I mean? So we want to feel those highs. No one wants to sit in lows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's low key the point of life. We won't be doing anything if it wasn't to feel good.
Yeah, like to change your habits, you gotta rewire your brain. But it's so hard. Like, and we live in a society where it's go, 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 grind, 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 efficiency, productivity. That's the society we live in, and it's like something like
get money.
Like when was the last time? When was the last time you went for a walk and just be alone with your thoughts? You know what I mean? Like that's something that a friend of mine has been telling me, like, go for a walk every once in a while, clear your head, get some fresh air. You don't have to constantly work. You don't have to constantly play. There's a thing in between work and play. And it's called just being present.
Just
being present, and it's being bored in a sense, but it comes from like things like meditation and going inward, self-awareness, cognitive therapy, like all those things.
I feel like even all those things is doing things. It's like it's still just have you actually tried?
How can you just be
nothing?
still?
Do you get
be still?
Genuinely just do nothing. You see that you can't.
I can't.
You
do nothing.
can't.
I've tried, man.
You
it's
can't.
It's so hard, man.
And to me, that now brings in question like how much control of your life you really have, because we're under a lot of illusions of control too. I feel like as people. I don't think we're under as much control as you think we are. I think everybody's compelled to behave, because, like I said, try and genuinely make yourself do nothing. You can't do it. So now what makes you think that you're the motivating factor behind everything that's going on? Not really. I feel like most things are just compulsions, and then we identify with the things we agree with, and then we don't with the things we don't.
I feel like that part of that is just like in our DNA. You know what I mean? It's like, you know how animals, you know, they know to eat, they know to without thinking about it. We know we have to do things. We can't just do nothing. You know what I mean?
You can't just do nothing. You're compelled to behave, and then the behaviors compound on themselves over time. So I'm like, you can't really judge people. You can't really make complex assessments, because like just one human being is complex, you know. The best thing you can do is have grace, man.
Yeah, imagine 100%. Taking one of those misbehaving Western kids to like the Shaolin temple or something, or like the monk Buddhist temple where they just meditate all day.
The kid could break the monks. The monks could break 100%. 100%. 100%. It could go either which way.
The culture shock would just be
on both sides.
On both sides. It's like taking a whore to the priest.
This kid is used to playing with an iPad and has a tantrum when the kid takes the iPad away. Meanwhile, the monk has never seen an iPad.
Never seen an iPad.
You know,
so now the kid might discover, oh my god, there's so much space to play, and the monk might discover to the point.
He said to the point.
And everybody discovers a new.
I think there was a movie scene. There was a movie scene like in a comedy where the monks discovered or something.
Like, bro, I can't allow any monk, any planet, anywhere in the world.
That's what it looks like.
Type shit.
But there's a story about that. I don't know where the tribes are, but they're finding internet because of Starlink, and they're getting addicted to porn. And they're blaming. They're blaming Elon Musk, but it's like, dude, he's giving them internet, and they're doing with the internet what they're doing. The internet also has education, right?
But humans are not compelled to be educated, isn't it?
Right, exactly. So it's like, do you shoot the messenger, or is it just a systemic problem, or is it just
it's not systemic.
It's not even a problem. It's not a problem.
It's just a human being.
It's what animals do.
It is. It's just what it is. It is what it is.
It is what it is. I don't know why we like making
we don't have
problems.
to define it.
It doesn't have to be a problem.
But that's part of our human instinct, though, to define, to categorize, to label.
That's real. It's one of the things we do.
I think a lot of things.
We excel at that. You know what I mean? We pat ourselves on the back for doing that.
The greatest.
I think a lot of things are actually not problems when you really think about it, but we're so used to seeing headlines and clips on social media and where it's like, this is problem, this is bad, this is bad.
Anything that you can't make money from is a problem.
It's like, maybe the world is not as bad as we think it is.
No,
maybe.
It's the same.
We are the problem.
Damn near the
like,
same.
we are the problem. That is.
We're normal.
Like,
Bro,
yeah, fair
we've
enough.
not improved in any way. Like this entire time, we just got better toys.
Yeah,
to do the same thing.
Man, that's actually deep. Like, there's I don't know if you listen to Damian Marley, you know, but he has a song, a whole album with Nas, but on this specific song called Patience, right? You know what I mean? Damian Marley says, you know, we're going to plant flags on the moon while there's starving tummies. Starving bellies on earth, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, it's like, to your point where it's like we haven't made progression.
Exactly.
It's like we've progressed, but it's like in what direction? You know what I mean? Like,
in all directions.
Yeah, bro, we're just,
Yeah.
we're like, bro, we're literally like we're like the ADHD tantrum kid, you know what I mean? Just bouncing all around the walls, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, but we're not actually making any progress, you know?
Now we figured out how to solve the food crisis, and now we have so much food. That's how we GMO, everything we did was so that we'll never suffer famine again.
Yes.
But now, population has shut up. So now there are more starving people in the world than ever before.
Yes. Yeah.
And now there's more food in the world than ever before. So it's an entertaining place to be in.
It's an entertaining place.
And both just keep going.
Yeah.
Both just keep going up.
Everything is going.
We have the means to feed everyone, you know, like we have enough space on Earth.
Oh, we never will.
Only populated areas of Earth is like 5% of the world is populated in terms of geographical space. It's a very small amount. There's so much space. It's just like, what are we doing with the space, right? Like,
well, a lot of it is like animal kingdom.
And how are our grocery prices going so much with all the food that we produce in Canada going up so much?
Bro, let's not even go down that spiral, right?
Like,
that's another 1 hour conversation.
You shouldn't be the same reason monkeys live in a whole forest, but they kill each other for food. Why are you killing each other for food?
Yeah,
right.
You have a whole forest.
There's
more than enough. There's
territory.
Obviously more than enough. So like human beings are doing the exact same thing. There's obviously more than enough. But that's not the point.
I love that simplistic way of thinking, bro. Because I think like human beings, bro, we think ourselves too special, bro.
Yeah, we think we are special. We're gonna check. We're bonobos.
Have you seen that documentary? What's it called? Chimp Empire or something? What's it called?
Rise of the Planet of the Apes?
No, it's an actual documentary where they followed these troops of chimps for like 20 years and filmed them and like studied their social structure, and it was just insane. Like they had wars, they had treaties, they had all sorts of like things that like humans would do, but like it just in a more primitive way.
Yeah,
it was crazy. It was Chimp Empire or something. That's what you said, reminding me about that when you talk about monkeys in the jungle. It's exactly like that.
Yeah,
it's actually so cool the way that they made the stories. Like,
man, I wonder if just like extra like territorial like aliens like just looking down on Earth and just be like monkeys.
Life is entertaining like that. Life is entertaining like that.
Just look at it. Whenever we go figure it out, like,
you need aliens to do that. I genuinely think the other animals look at us and be like, the fuck are they doing? I swear to God. I feel like tigers or like fishes, small fishes, they look at the monkeys and be like, nah, this thing's crazy.
Yo, dolphins definitely look at humans like, bro, y'all monkeys
go crazy.
Definitely,
bro. Like hilarious across the board.
Yeah, bro. It's fucking hilarious. Yeah, so I have a question for you, right? Like, I know you say like everyone struggles with addiction, like vices, right? Everyone has their own vice, you know what I mean? But what are some advice or some ways you would say that some things you practice, you know, that help you with your vices, or any advice, opinions, whatever.
Balance. Depending on what it is. Depending on your vice.
You're saying there could be a healthy crack.
Yeah. But not crack. That's something like crack cocaine now. That's So there's extremes. So you kind need to be able to be honest and like evaluate your vice and everything. And then outside that, like, you learn like balance and moderation and when to do and when not to and how to incorporate it into your life. And the basis, at least start at being functional. Function first. You know what I'm saying? Don't let it be like debilitating.
When you say functional, what do you mean?
I don't know. Basically,
Like wake up, brush your teeth, wipe your ass. Like
daily goals and long-term goals.
Okay.
3. Make sure you do those.
Do daily goals and long-term goals.
Yeah, your daily like just 3 points. Okay, I'm doing these 3 things today. Okay. And then long-term over this year, these 3 things.
Okay.
So that sense of determination will be the source of your discipline. Do you get? So you do need something to be the source of your discipline.
So you're saying discipline. You need to be disciplined.
Not vague discipline like, oh, I swear to God, I'll not do it again. Things like that don't work. Not vague discipline or like, oh, this is my last time and then you go toss it out. No. It has to be, I am doing this.
Right.
Do you get? So that clarity of having something valuable to you that you're doing is what would help you through addiction. Even if it's going to help you through addiction, is the clarity of having something with purpose.
Yeah. How do you something with purpose? I was gonna ask like, how do you gain that clarity? But then you just said something with purpose. So you're saying like
purpose.
Finding purpose.
Purpose, whatever that means to you, because like I use that word vaguely.
Right.
But like whatever that means to you.
Who is it that said? I think Aristotle. He says life has no meaning until you give life meaning.
Exactly. Life is genuinely meaningless and without purpose. To be honest.
Yes.
So like pick a thing.
Yeah.
It's literally one of those where just pick a thing and with it.
Yeah.
And then
sometimes
fuck with it really hard.
Sometimes
That's
you gotta try.
all you
bro, that's so great, bro. It's like
you find the thing.
Pick a pillow and
fuck with
and
it.
really hard. Like what?
No pillow, but like a thing.
I'll just fuck with you now. Yeah. So you're saying like because I know a lot of people. I met a lot of I met a lot of people, and I'm just gonna say a lot of young men, in general, who they're very talented, a lot of potential, a lot of like possibilities. I mean, but I was one of these people. It's just, man, I have so many talents, so many interests. I always had a hard time picking something to focus on, picking one thing to focus on. And it made things hard because like I could do a lot of things, but I was never exceptional at anything.
Exactly.
Right?
That's the annoying thing.
Like I could do a lot of things, but I was never exceptional at anything. So it's like there's a trick. There's a trick where it's like you focus on like one thing, you focus on two things, and become exceptional at that thing. Bill Gates' ex-wife, she says that the best advice she could give is that someone become like masters one craft, then master another craft, and combine them together to make babies. Because that makes you unique. Like you're taking for example, you're taking your idea of psychology and you're taking your idea of music, and now you're creating something new. Like maybe there's a way you can make music that make people feel better. That release people out of depression. Now you're combining that field that's unique as well as to you. Right? And I think that's something that's really helped me. Like that. Find that focus, find that clarity.
Clarity,
find that purpose. It's like okay, I'm gonna focus on this.
Yeah.
This is what I'm doing.
Is that something that you could relate to?
100%. Like focus is the only thing that, and that's where music comes in, because it's the easiest thing for me to actually channel my focus on, because I actually genuinely like it. If not, because I'm one of those people, like, I don't know, I'm comfortable saying it, like, I feel like I was born with, like, a genuine dispassion towards things. So, like, it wasn't learned behavior. I had to learn how to like things.
Yeah.
If I should put it like that.
I actually relate to that.
Like a lot of things.
Growing up, did you have that struggle? Because I had a struggle thinking that I lacked work ethic, I lacked discipline, but it's like I just never cared enough to actually build to be disciplined. To work. Is that something? Because I struggled with that. I've gotten fired from jobs and but I'm like, bro, like for example, I'll give you an example. I used to work at Stella's Cafe, a restaurant, and like when I worked there, bro, I got employee of the month, like I got good tips, things like that, right? But it's like I got fired for some stupid dumbass, my point is like that wasn't the first job I got fired from or the last one, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's kind of like a consistent theme, and at some point I started asking myself, like, man, like, do I just lack work ethic? You know what I mean? Like, can I just like not commit to something for more than a year? You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? All of these questions, you know what I mean? And well, it's like I realized this is something that reading Russ. I'm a person who likes to read a lot. You know what I mean? Reading Russ, right? Reading Russ. He talks about this in his book, right? Like he always got fired from jobs. You know what I mean? He always like he'll play so many sports, but it was never like exceptional. You know what I mean? All of this stuff, right? And it's like he said like he lacked work ethic and discipline because he never saw anything that he had passion towards. You know what I mean?
That's very
so that goes back to your dispassion.
I feel like I'm dispassionate, but I mean that socially in a social sense. So I've been passionate about other things like reading. Passionate about that. Tennis too, guitar. So like the things I'd like. Very, very passionate about it. But like this passion in him being alive sense. So no real interest in eating or like having friends or like even seeing people or like anything really.
Right.
I just want to be in the book.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
All day. And then if I'm dropping the book, it's only because I want to pick up the guitar. Like someone has to remind me that the reason I'm so frustrated is because I'm not eating in a day or something like
right.
Right, yeah.
That's
so
like
crazy,
that
man.
kind of disconnect. So how I started getting, I feel like, in touch was through these things too that I used to get lost in. So like reading with people, and then let's say me and you read the book, and then we start conversing. I'm like, oh, talking to people is kind of nice.
Yeah.
Kind of do things to do. Yeah, playing guitar. Oh, I not play guitar. You not play guitar. You not play guitar. Play together. I'm like, oh, that's also kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I feel like in terms of addiction, that's a cool way to think about it. Because like smoking, you might be smoking alone all the time. Or, yeah, most time your vices are usually in isolation.
Right.
But even just sharing the vice, that's why they tell you alcohol anonymous. You come out and announce it and share.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference because then sharing compensates for a lot of it. Just having a shared experience is more valuable than the experience itself.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Damn.
yeah, you can now share your sobriety as well. You feel what I'm saying? So like, I feel like that's the movement that made me see these things.
Yeah,
where,
that's where community and groups come in.
Like just
sharing your triumphs, sharing your losses with someone.
Too, as
you're
well.
not alone. Even if you're failing, you're not alone. If you're successful,
succeeding, you're not alone.
Exactly.
That's the only way, because like it's ego trips too. So you feel like, oh my god, I'm failing so much, but then you're surrounded by failures. Now you're good. But then if you feel like you're burning too much, you get a big head. But if you're surrounded with ballers, you're also calm. So you always need to be surrounded by people in general.
Well,
but it's better to surround yourself around people that bring the best out of you, right?
100%.
Right, not
people
losers and bums
that
just want to drink and go to the club every night. Right?
Back to human nature,
that's
right?
the best in you.
If that's the best in you,
because I genuinely, everybody has their purpose.
Your purpose is to club.
Drink liquor.
Your purpose is to shayo.
Don't let anybody stop you.
If you're pulling,
drink and die.
Yeah, if you're pulling baddies every weekend, then you're good.
If your purpose is to be Frank Gallagher from Shameless, you know what I mean? Go for it. You know what I mean?
Everybody's meant to live long. Nobody wants you.
Yeah, if your purpose is to pull baddies at the club, go for it.
YOLO, bro. You know what I mean?
Pull the baddies.
Shaq your shayo, bro.
Shaq your shayo. Live for it. Live for love.
I feel like we're just about ready to wrap it up here. So let's ask you, like, do you got any projects going on? What do you want people to know about right now?
Kwae Kobain. That's all you need to know about. Just everywhere. Just be thinking the beautiful, the gorgeous, the elegant Kwae Kobain, because that's what's coming this year.
Okay.
Wow.
Kwae Kobain.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Volume 1.
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's going to be amazing.
Thank you for checking out this episode of Vybe Network.
Love.
Let us know if
we're not gonna talk about him doing a show with us.
we are, but let's talk about it right at the end just in case the episode comes after the show, which it won't. But that way I can just cut it out
Fair enough.
The episode comes out after the show.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for tuning into this episode of Vybe Network with Kwae Kobain here. Let us know if you want to have him on the show again.
Wow.
We're gonna have him on again either way, but you still have to let us know
We appreciate your
You
thoughts.
still gotta show the love.
Yeah.
And we got the show coming up on April 19th,
Wow.
which you're gonna be
Pull up, I'll be performing the album Hey, you get to listen to it firsthand.
Mad.
You know what I'm saying?
Mad.
April 19th at Control Space.
Yup. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Yup, in the Vibes We Trust. Yes, sir.
Yeah, again.
Hell yeah.